Hey everybody, it's Carrie Bone with NeuroLife Coaching again. Today I'm going to address food being fuel for your body. And I just recorded a podcast with one of my good friends, Steph McPherson, and she has become an integrative nutrition coach and basically a life coach because they do more than just nutrition. But food is the second thing that I address whenever I get a new brain health client or a mental fitness client. Because nutrition is that important to your brain health, to your brain function, to your everyday function. And we've neglected nutrition for a really long time. Like growing up, I think we've just gotten away from eating the regular food, the unprocessed foods that we once ate when almost everybody lived on a farm. Like I did growing up, I lived around farms and we always had, immediate access to fresh eggs and corn and fresh meat and anything we wanted, really. So, nutrition has become so important because of all of the processed foods in our lives, all of the dyes and additives that can be in our foods, and that interacts with your brain. I know it's not fun to hear because a lot of the parents that I work with, they look at what's in their kids' daily diet and it's not healthy for them. It's no wonder they can't focus. It's no wonder they're, bouncing off the walls. They have a lot of sugar. They have a lot of dyes, artificial colors and dyes in them. It's not good for the brain, and it actually increases distraction. And the processed foods, they completely wreak havoc on our body, and they can cause inflammation and sickness, and we don't even realize it. Now, a lot of my clients don't love to hear this because this is their normal food. They want to stop at the fast food restaurants. They'd rather come home and, not have to cook and just make something out of the freezer that's not very healthy. It has a lot of carbs and sodium. But I am focusing on teaching people, coaching people that it's not difficult, it's not terribly expensive, and it's not so much of a challenge to eat healthy as we think it is. I think just the idea is overwhelming a lot of times, but once we break it down and plan ahead, and a lot of people have some trouble planning ahead, so that's another thing I help, coaching, because planning ahead and buying the food ahead of time and knowing, this week we'll eat this, this, and this, and this, it helps a lot. And especially when you have kids or youth athletes, it helps tremendously because it takes that time and pressure off of you. But food is fuel for your brain and body. A lot of times we look at food as comfort food, as reward, and we need to start looking at it. Whatever you put in your body, that's completely indicative of the results you're going to get. So if you put, just like a car, if you put cheap gas or a corroded gas in a car, it's not going to run properly. I know, people from around my age with the computers, we had to type run and exit and all that stuff, and it was garbage in, garbage out. If you didn't type everything in properly, it didn't come out properly. So you had to think about what you're entering all the time. And the same thing with our bodies and our brains. If you are going to put wholesome, healthy, natural food in your brain and body, you're going to feel better, you're going to think clearer, you're going to be happier. That's research that's proven. I've done it in my life. I used to eat basically whatever I wanted. I mean, I didn't really have off limits, to anything. Go out to eat, I get what I want, when I want. And I wasn't unhealthy, but I certainly didn't restrict anything. I certainly didn't consider the amount of sugar I was putting in my body or any food additives or preservatives. And then I really became conscious of what I bought at the grocery store, the meals I started eating, when I ate them, the hours that I was eating, and wow, my energy level went up, my inflammation, my pain went down, my focus is better. I mean, I live this. I'm not just preaching it, like I live it too. I've been there. I do this on a budget. I do this with my own kids. I live it, so I get it. But we need to start looking at food as fuel and not food as a reward or things we need. Like, I need that cheeseburger. I need that cookie. I need that. That's your brain craving it. And Steph and I discussed that in the podcast today. Food is fuel. So make sure you're putting the right fuel into your body to get the right results out of your brain and body. Change the way you look at food, and you'll be able to change your brain and change your life, because everything starts with the brain.